Good afternoon to the viewers of the live stream and whoever's watching after the live stream. I know a lot of people watch as a video. Welcome to another live stream. We don't have anything new per se, but there's a lot of planning to do because what we're seeing now is exactly what we need to see in order for the market to be bearish. And we'll talk about that today. Welcome to another live stream. We got Crypto Meow is in the building, Richard Desmond, Matthew Dropko, Eric Malloy, The Rob Side, Vegeta, David B's making his return. Welcome back, David B. Farm Genie also making his return. Dominic Mysterio, unpublished, crying about the intro again. Welcome. Eric Malloy, the XRP Moon Boy. Vegeta's in the chat. Bans Beal. Thought I saw Dominic Mysterio. Dominic Mysterio, yeah. I told you the intro is crazy long. Well, I have a question unpublished, just so we're all on the same page. What are you going to do about it? What you going to do? Daniela? Is that Danny or Daniela? Daniel? Daniela. Danny, I'm going to call you Danny. This way it's universally... Slapback, Moonwolf. How's everybody doing today? Crypto Prince is here. Welcome. So I'm thinking for now, the plan is going to be Doge and MSTR for the next market cycle. This morning's video wasn't the most informative, but it did give us a little bit of information because I think it's going to be as simple as that. Now it's never going to look the same, but I think it's going to be this simple. And David B made a good point in the beginning of the bear market. He said the one time we buy MSTR, it's not going to move, which is always possible. But the fact that Bitcoin bounced 40% and MSTR bounced 80% tells me that it's still possible that MSTR is going to be a big winner because BMNR is supposed to be like Ethereum and this thing is dead. It's about to break the low. And there's another possible Bitcoin company called Strive. I'm sure most of you have heard of this. I've heard of it, but I haven't really been paying attention to it. I didn't realize it was $270. Went all the way down to $8. Doesn't mean it's going to go back up there, but I do think they announced their Bitcoin holdings up here. This could be something to gamble on. I think if we go down and come back to the low, heading into the summer, or I guess the end of the year rather, it could be, I'm not saying it is, but it could be a gamble because it's $1 billion market cap, which means if it comes back down here, it's going to be 500 million. And we know that a 20x in the crypto world is nothing. That would be 10 billion. Which I believe right now MSTR is at 50 billion. So this thing going back to the high for 20x is 10 billion. MSTR right now is at 50 billion. Also worth noting the amount of Bitcoin owned is significantly higher for MSTR, but something to watch. I got it on my watch list, ASST. I don't think MSTR is going to move this time. It's going to be a dud like ETH. It's always possible, but I think it could move because it's almost behaving the same way as 2022. And like I said this morning, the fact that MSTR bounced 90%, but Bitcoin bounced 40% makes me think that the beta play is still there. So I think for a safe bet, MSTR is the way to go. Because, like, let's talk about it. The diminished returns are very real. The last market cycle, Bitcoin did very well. There's no question, right? A 7x, I think most of us would have loved. The last market cycle was a 30x. So you could see the drop off there. Oh, it was a 20x, sorry. The drop off there was more than 50%. Even if we play conservative and we say 50%, a 3.5x, which is definitely nice, but you can get that return in the stock market pretty easily nowadays. Back in the day, it wasn't that easy, but in today's world, I actually saw an article. I don't know how true this is. Oh no, it was a Fox video, maybe? I think it was Fox. They're going to try and tokenize the stock market to make it 24/7. I mean, we're in a new world where everything is just on the go, straight up, straight down, volatility. This is the new market. So a 3x in the crypto space is not that appetizing because stocks don't go down 95% in a month. You know, I mean, obviously there's doo-doo stocks that do, but I'm talking like legitimate companies do 3x moves now. So I probably think the time for Bitcoin has probably sailed. But the reason why I'm babbling like this is because even if MSTR doesn't go back to the high and it just does a retracement, you'll probably still outperform. Because the bottom here, which is very interesting because it was a 9x to get back to the prior all-time high. Technically, if we did a 3x from here, we would almost get back to the high. A 4x would get back to the high. So I think there's two options here. Either the bottom is in and we go down for a double bottom, then we do make a new all-time high, or that's not the bottom and it's actually something like this, which means we're going to get a nasty move down to like 70 bucks. Then you're going to need that same 7x to get up to the new all-time high. I can't tell you that I know. I think both of them are equally as possible. I think the only situation I wouldn't say is this. This is not happening. I think we got to come down here. Whether or not the bottom is in, I don't know. It's probably not. Could we double bottom? I'm not going to say it's impossible because that is still it's like an 80% move, so it's pretty big. But if it does double bottom, then we'll know we're going to make a new all-time high. So I think MSTR over Bitcoin is probably the better option, but I wouldn't buy Bitcoin because there's better options out there. Like you could probably even buy this. This is a 3x SPY ETF. I mean, from last May alone, it's up 200%. And then if you compare it to the last bull market, right now it's up 400%. But like that's the thing that pisses me off. It's like it's never coming back down here. It's not impossible. I guess if SPY fell by 30%, yeah, it's not impossible. It's probably not going back down there. But I mean, if we get a 30% crash at the end of the year, you know, something like this could be a generational buy for some people. Because typically the S&P 500, I mean, look at this. Keep in mind that this is literally a SPY ETF. It's up 17,000% from 2009. Now you got to remember that it wasn't like Bitcoin where people put in $1,000 and they made billions of dollars. The Wall Street funds were already buying this with billions of dollars. Just imagine how much money they made. You know, 17,000%. Even $1 million. And you got to imagine that Wall Street put in billions, if not trillion. Probably not a trillion, but. So there's money elsewhere. But if I had to stick to crypto, I'd probably buy MSTR. And then you have the degenerate path where they have now a 2x long MSTR. So it's like, now you're really getting degenerate. This stuff didn't exist last time. I don't think it's a coincidence that they came out with it right near the top. Everybody piled in and then it went to zero. So we got plenty of time, but I do think we're going to monitor MSTR because it's going to help the views. I mean, not right now, but I think in the next bull market, between Doge, Bitcoin, and the MSTR, I should be okay. It's up drifting by nature. It will always go up. If a company fails, they fill it with another one. Right, I noticed that. You know why I noticed that? Because it's all semiconductors now. So you're right. That's a good way of thinking about it, actually. The stock market will go up forever because they simply swap out the companies with something else. Dude, you're absolutely right. 5 years ago, if you looked at SPY, none of this rubbish was in here. Oh, well, most of it probably was Microsoft, Apple, but it's all AMD, Intel, Cisco. I don't even know what that is. It's probably a AI or software scam. But you're right. In 5 years, it's probably going to be all different companies. So the S&P does just go up forever. That's a good statement. I didn't think of that. We got minority voice in the chat. We're gonna make it going according. Plan going according. I mean, my plan didn't go to according. I got hit pretty bad on this bounce, but I've been out for like almost 2 months now. But I have another. If we sit here for another 2 months, then everything is gonna work out. Yeah. I need us to sit here for another month because I'm already making another plan. So I'm hoping we get one more little squeak like this, and then everything will work out. That's why they say buy SPY for the jabronis. Yeah, I never realized that it's true. They just swap everything out so it goes up forever. Yeah, but you know what else I realized? I told you guys this in the last couple, or it wasn't the last live stream, but this Tesla ETF was actually bullish all the way through till the very last second. And then from October to December, it went straight down. So for people thinking, again, I'm not going to act like a wizard because clearly I'm not, but for people thinking that we can't get that crash at the end of the year, it's very possible. Because even in 2018, you can see that Bitcoin was struggling, but Tesla made another high, and then a month later it was going down. We only need 2 months of bearishness. So I'm thinking what's going on here is we sit here probably till the summer. Maybe the S&P doesn't go down. I struggle to think that it won't because it always does. But it should do something like this. And then this should be the generational bottom. Well, this is an ETF, a 3x ETF, so there's no such thing as a generational bottom. It keeps coming back down, but if you can get in at the bottom, you should be okay. Because I mean, this ETF does, I mean, even this does a 5 to 6x pretty much every market cycle. It's nuts. At least for the last seven years. So there's more options now than there were back in 2017. I miss when this was a Dogecoin channel. Yeah, Dogecoin is dead, man. Sorry. Just come back in I don't want to say a year, but probably around a year is when Doge will come back from the dead. Gonna get a new property and mess with crypto with whatever's left. Yeah, I don't know what I'm gonna do with crypto. I think I'm not done with crypto, but it's just there's nothing. It's just too risky, you know. Like the coins might go up. Think about it. We've been here for so long, and the reality is Ethereum is the same price as it was 5 years ago. And the reality is we're projected to make another low. It's going to be the same price as 8 years ago. I mean, what's the point? What's the point of buying an asset that's never going to go up? So I think if anything, MSTR is probably the best bet for like in general. I'm not saying it's the best option for me, but I also don't think it's going to do a 30x again. I mean, this was a one-time thing. There's just no way. There's too many people know about it now. 40x, that was a one-time thing. I think if we're lucky, we could get a 5 or a 6x. Pokemon cards were my best investment. Meme coin returns. They're still going up. Yeah, I don't have any money for that stuff. It's too hard to get in and out. Let me just look. I'm curious. Last year I bought a bunch of celebrations. Let's see. Yeah. Yeah, it didn't really go up that much. It did a 2x. I mean, that's nuts though. Yeah, I remember I was buying them for 300. Now it's 700 for Charizard celebrations. But I mean, it's just too hard to get in and out. That's the problem. And there's a bunch of fees and stuff. Alts are cooked. Yeah, you'll always have that group of alts that do well, but I'm not. I think I'm done with altcoins, honestly. I think I'm done, but we'll see. Never say never. But what I'm hoping here, what I'm thinking is going on here, there should be one more little rally left, I think. Doesn't have to be, but that's what's been happening. When the 2-day stock RSI has been doing this, we've been bouncing. So my wishful thinking had, I don't know. It could break down here, but my wishful thinking is maybe we come down to this trend line, then we get one more, and then that should do it. My other option here is it breaks down, then we back test it, and then we go down. I would be really upset if we just went down from here. It would be tragic. I'm hoping there's going to be another scam rally because the S&P is just so bullish. Like it just refuses to go down. Yeah, there's no way the S&P is going to go down. It's not. I'm telling you, there's no way. Look at the stock RSI. There's no way it goes down. It needs to consolidate first, and then it can go down. Because you see the difference with 2018, and now is the stock RSI was in the middle line. Right now, it's about to hit overbought. So I'm thinking here, if we could just push up a little bit more, start to cool off into the summer, let all the momentum die, like we talked about yesterday. We got to let the meme coins die, which right now they're not dying. They're bleeding, but they're not really dying. I think we're getting exactly what we want to get. This is good. It's not bullish, but it's good. We want consolidation for the meme coins. Yeah, I mean, look at it. Look, every coin has the same chart. They all came back down to their lows. Only Bitcoin is holding up. And I'm sure there's a bunch of coins that you could find, but almost every coin on my watch list is back at the low. And look at this, XCN is about to break the low. So I think we're getting what we need. The cherry on top would be one more spike, and that should do it. Because you could see the 2-week stock RSI is coming up to overbought. But what's interesting is when it hit overbought, the top was already in the last 2 times. So we're not overbought yet. So I'm thinking there's one more, but it's wishful thinking, but one more spike and then that should be it. Why are you demotivating me? What do you mean? We're going to a card show in June. My friend rented 2 tables at a card show. S&P relative to GDP is insane. Yeah, I don't know how to check that. I dumped my old cards for 70K. Wow. What's up, Ian Wallace? Craig Coates is in the chat. So I think in June, we're going to start planning for the bull market because, guys, it's going to be here in 4 months. Like, it's really starting to hit me now that my age, like, I know we joked about it for the last 2 years, but it's really hitting me. Like, time is moving so fast. It's going to be October before we know it. Like, like literally, guys, doesn't it feel like it was just October and we had that God crash? And that's what's so weird about this bear market is we only had one. We only had one God crash. Usually there's a few of them. But this ginormous wick down here, all we did was fill the wick. That's it. So I feel like, you see how in 2021 there was a bunch of them? You had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Like, we only had one. I guess the market's trying to treat this as the top, and that's why. I guess that's not impossible. What's up, local liquid? Welcome. Blockchain backer says the bottom is in and we're in accumulation. We could be, man. We could be. I don't agree with that, but you got to do what's best for you. I'm curious as to how low Coinbase is going to go. Because there's a big floor here. But the thing is, if Bitcoin falls by 40%, 40% puts us back at $100. Yeah, I think $100 is probably still in play. The economy is booming. It is. Now inflation is going up and the S&P still doesn't care. The S&P will pump another 5 to 10% before the top. I don't even disagree with you. that's what's starting to make me think, what if we don't go to the 200-week moving average? Because it's getting pretty far away. I don't know, like if we went up another 5%, how far down is that? Yeah, we would need a COVID crash. That's literally the only way. I don't know if we're gonna get that. That's well, technically this would be climbing. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know if it's gonna get it. I mean, it's not impossible because we did just see it in March of last year. And we also saw it in 2018. How's the RSI look? Oh, wow, it's overbought. Yeah, the weekly RSI is overbought again. But that's like I said before, and pretty much every day. The S&P going sideways in the summer is the most bearish thing you can get. Because if the S&P go, like think about this. The S&P is going straight up and Bitcoin is still not breaking out. So if the S&P goes sideways, you're going to get what you got here, which is bearish. So I think if we can just go sideways, that is bearish. I think we bottomed and up from here. We may see a double bottom. The real bottom is in Q1 of 2027 after making a new high. Dogecoin to $12. Android, welcome to BTC Whale. I appreciate that, man. Thank you very much. Z Gaming is in the chat. The economy is booming on insufficient funds. Nah, I know we're deep in a bear market. Every sign that there is, as far as revenue, views, sentiment, Google search. I mean the price action too. I'm hopeful there's another spike to the upside. I really do mean that. I think everybody would benefit if there's one more rally left. Kind of like this. This is beautiful. This would be beautiful if we did something like this. Oh, it would be the best case scenario. And then we put the bottom in at the end of the year. It's not going to look like this, but oh, it would be beautiful. It's probably not going to happen, but I'm hopeful. I'm hopeful. I think June to August is going to be insanely bullish. I hope so, man. I'm getting bear FOMO right now because I don't want to miss the move down. But I'm sticking to I can't lose any more money, so I kind of have to just let the market guide me through. That's why I'm hoping there's one more. I think the only way I miss it is if it just goes down like this. Because then I don't know what I'm going to do. Because like I said yesterday, there's always a chance that we're already in here and we just sit here for the rest of the year and then we break down at the last second. The problem is this is still invalid. Like the 4-year cycle says we have to go much lower. So even this is kind of not good enough. That's why I don't think it's gonna. You could do this technically, but that's definitely not happening. What's not happening? The breakdown? We got Chris in the chat. We haven't looked at Riot. Yeah, because these stocks are not crypto stocks anymore. They're pivoting to AI. Riot's probably going to run, but a lot of these stocks are no longer crypto stocks. It's hard for me to see projects go lower than this. Well, I can't, I'm not trying to persuade you. I'm just saying be open to it. I'm open to the super cycle right now. I'm giving it the chance. If we were going to go up, now would be the time. I mean, you can't really be bearish when you have this. That's why I'm rooting for a rally. But it's already getting tired. That's the problem. So if it fizzles out and just dies, so be it. But this, like I'm trying to stress the importance. This is when you would get your super cycle. And the fact that we've just been sitting here, believe it or not, for a month already, that's not bullish. Some people would say we're in here. I mean, I'm pretty sure even this was almost 2x, wasn't it? Yeah, it was 100% gain. Monthly MACD histogram and validating the 4-year cycle. I mean, at the end of the day, I'm not here to try and convince you guys, you got to do what's best for you. As long as you're making money, that's all that matters. Just manage your risk and, that's all you can really do. You're always going to have people that are bullish or bearish, and that's entirely okay, you know. I'm not here to convince. Someone said the MACD, I already read that. Yeah, but you could say the MACD is doing that, but then you could say the stock RSI is saying it's bearish. Like our weekly MACD is already ticking down. Like if I look at the stock RSI, it tells me that we're not even at the most bearish part, you know? Like we're oversold, but when you're oversold, you can see you could still bounce. I mean, look at 2018. This is what I'm talking about. In 2018, the stock RSI was bearish the whole time and nothing happened. And then out of nowhere, the bottom fell out. So I'm not saying you're wrong if you think the 4-year cycle is invalid. Maybe it is, right? That's why I'm giving the super cycle the chance. But once July passes, if we're still where we are or lower, I'm preparing for sub 50K. But we have plenty of signs that we're gonna get before we get there. Like if we see these doo-doo coins just nuke, we're gonna know we're going down. We're gonna know we're going down. Even Solana's starting to look like this, doesn't it? It looks like we're getting to sideways and then straight down at the end. We got Chris for 10. I appreciate that, man. That is awesome. You think crypto was just a big bubble like the Tulip Mania? All the big companies are making their own blockchains and stablecoins delete the need for any other crypto, including Bitcoin. I appreciate the 10. The first time I heard that was in 2017. They called it the Tulip Bubble. I don't think crypto is it's crypto's definitely not dead. There's just too many scams that the crypto that we did know is dead. And the Google Trends backs that up. Even if you just search Bitcoin and you don't go crazy, keep it simple and you just search Bitcoin all time, you can see that the crypto hype that we once knew is long gone. 2017 was the bubble. And then 2021 was the retracement. Whatever we just got was just not even anything. Now, I think you're going to continue to get bubbles. They're just going to be harder to find and they're going to change because Solana had a big bubble this time. You see how in 2021 Solana basically didn't exist and then it just shot up? But then this time you had multiple chances on Solana. So I don't know what the next bubble is going to be in crypto, but it's going to be something. I don't know. Like, I don't know what was a big coin in 2025, 2024. I don't even know. It was Solana, basically. But that's a genuine question. Does anybody know what the big coin was? Was it SWI? I don't know. So I don't think the crypto bubble is dead. I think the crypto bubble that we knew is dead. Because there's always going to be a scam somewhere and there's always going to be people that want to get scammed. So I would say, to answer your question, crypto was a big bubble, but the bubble's not over. It's just the bubble that we knew is over, yes. But there's going to be another mania phase. And here, the reality is there was a fake mania phase in 2024. We just ignored it. It wasn't as strong, but it's never going to be as strong. But again, when we had Michael Saylor having a party with Ben Cohen, I don't know if it's actually Ben Cowen. I don't know if Ben Cowen was there, but there was a bunch of people screaming in November of 2024, oh man, somebody actually said this stock is a money glitch. That was the actual top. I remember someone said on YouTube, this stock is a money glitch, and it marked the top. When you see that kind of stuff, that is euphoria. Unfortunately, none of us bought this, and it did a 40x. But the days of 2017 are over, yes. You'll never see this again, where you could just throw your money in and get 100x. It's never going to happen again. Now, some people will get it, but the majority of people, including me, will never get that ever again. It's never going to happen. So that's what I would say. I would say the crypto bubble itself is not done, but it's shrinking actually. I think instead of popping, it's deflating, but it's never going to actually pop because Bitcoin is going to go up forever. It's going up less, but it should go up forever until it goes sideways. But I guess nothing goes up forever. That's why this market cycle coming up, I think, is the last one that's really going to be worth paying attention to. So we really cannot mess this up. That's why I'm playing it as safe as possible. I mean, I'm going to take some risk, of course, but I can't take the same risk I took last market cycle. And I'm hoping to put myself in a position to where I don't have to. But like I can't put all my money on MOG and it just goes to zero. I literally cannot do that anymore. Those days are over. Maneki, remember Maneki? There was a time where I wanted to put 20K on Maneki. I'm never doing that. Unless I make a lot of money, then I still probably wouldn't do it. I think a lot of people got burned too many times in crypto and just moved on. Yeah, it's not what it once was. Search what uni Ben Cohen graduated. He's a psyop. I don't even watch Ben Cohen. We watched him a lot in 2023 and 2024, but we didn't listen to him. The dominance to the moon. But I do think this market cycle could be a good one because the dominance is already up here. And all the bullish propaganda that goes on in the chat with the QE and the PMI and everything, it should play in our favor. That's why I'm thinking like I think we got a shot. I really do. I don't think this is how it ends. I think we got one more good run left. Now, if we capitalize on it, then we can have plenty of good runs in the future. So that's why I have to I have to aim small. And if I end up hitting big on accident, then that's great. Because once you get a certain amount of money, it becomes easier to make little gain. Like a little gain is a big gain now. Like when we have a lot of money and we make 5 or 10K, it's like, ah, nobody cares. Like it sucks. But now if you make 10K, it's like, yo, that's a lot of money. So we have to get to the point to where you don't need to take big ass risks to make money, which is what the stock market is for. We're just so used to being gamblers that we like, oh, we need old season, but there is no old season. So the crypto bubble that we once knew is long gone. But I appreciate the 10 from Mr. Chris. But then I'm thinking to myself, yeah, but dude, what about the stock market? Like, I'm not even trying to bullshit you. These things are. This semiconductor ETF did a 7x in 3 years. Then you could say, all right, it was a fluke. Then it did a 10x in 2 years. And then you could say, all right, it was a fluke. Then you can say it did a 15x in 2 years. Oh my God. It's like, dude, this it's getting larger. This one is up 25x. In 4 years, the stock is up 25x. So I'm thinking this can't go on forever, but I'm pretty sure if we just get that one final crash, it should come back down. And then bam, 20x. Come on, baby. It would be a fluke if it happened once, but it's happened 4 times now. And you throw Bitcoin on the chart and you'll see that they go up together. But when they don't go up together, it always results in a massive crash. Specifically, when Bitcoin doesn't go up with the semiconductors. If Bitcoin goes up by itself, then that's fine. It's when the semiconductors go up without Bitcoin that has always resulted in a crash, 100% of the time. So if that's different this time, so be it. But as of now, the semiconductors are going up, but Bitcoin is not. And this is the first time the semiconductors are really, really moving. Which, by the way, as you can see on my screen, or on your screen, the 2-month stock RSI is now overbought. Which doesn't mean the bull run is over, but it has to go down at some point. Which is why if we're going to have a 4-year cycle, it should go down by the end of the year. That's what we want. We want to start a new bull run. Did I get back in when Bitcoin was 60K? No, I think Bitcoin's going below 60K. Do I think quantum computing could be the narrative? I mean, I'm not so familiar with narratives. If it could be. Everyone's piling into all the technology stocks as far as the semiconductors, right? Somebody in the chat has a memory ETF. I'm not sure. But that's why ETFs are so good, because you don't have to know. Like, shoulda, coulda, woulda. But at the same time, I could have just bought Bitcoin too. Like, there's no going back. But I don't want to be saying the same thing in 10 years. And we know definitively that Bitcoin's market cycles are shrinking, so why would I buy it? You know, MSTR could go up 10x, but it could not. These 3x ETFs have been exploding, and somebody made a really good point today. I didn't even think of that. They keep changing the stocks that are in them. It's sick. It never occurred to me. They literally change the stocks in them so they only go up. It's not really, it's not fair to the regular people, but I'm a regular person, so I didn't get it. But it's true. Like, if you took a snapshot of Tesla today, it's probably going to be different stocks in 4 years. Because when I was looking at it 4 years ago, there was no AMD and Intel. It was like Microsoft, Google. Google's not even in here anymore. Look at that. Maybe it's a little bit lower on the list, but Nvidia is holding, this thing is 10% of this is Nvidia. Nuts. So I personally think the stock market might be more attractive, especially because, again, if you don't sell, you just hold and you get your money back. With crypto, you don't get that. If you don't sell, you lose everything 9 out of 10 times. It's really sick. But it took me long enough to figure it out. Chris for 5 says, can you overlay real estate home prices with Bitcoin? I think it's called Fred. I appreciate the 5. Yeah, I think we looked at that last time. Well, Fred, I believe, is the website. I think you could just search up housing prices. Right? We used to search this up. I forget what exactly we typed. I think it was like home. I think it was home prices. Single family. Yeah. Single family home prices. Here we go. Yeah, I don't think there's a correlation. Yeah, the houses basically doubled from 2020. Looks like they're getting ready to break out. So housing is expected to go up. Commercial real estate prices? No. Yeah, I'm not sure. We used to look at it. I think we were looking at home sale price. What about United States existing home sales month over month? They're still selling their houses. Yeah, everything's fine. Everything's booming right now. But I'm not sure how to pull it up. Because Fred is just like the, I'm not going to say company, but it's like a branch. It's not an actual ticker. But I'm not sure how to pull up home prices. I mean, this is technically it. United States average house prices. But there's no correlation. If anything, but this is what I talked about in this is what I talked about in the bull market, which is why it's so heartbreaking that I didn't keep the money. I'm probably never going to get a house because you guys got to understand that the housing market has been cooling since 2022. I don't know how much longer this is going to stay like this before it breaks to the upside again. I think I said this exact thing back in 2025. Like if we don't, or whoever, like if you want a house, your window is gonna, I mean, obviously if you ever become rich, your window's never shut, but the reality is the market for the houses has not moved since May of 2022, which means there's two options here, which is it's like Captain Obvious, but it goes up or down. The problem is, why would it go down? It only went down in 2008, and we don't have 2008. So I'm leaning more towards this, which means if I don't get, I don't necessarily need a house, I just need the money for a house, which obviously would have to be in some shithole. But I'm pretty sure the housing dreams for most people is going to be done by the end of the next market cycle. I mean, unless it just goes stagnant again, that's obviously possible, but I mean, that's never happened. You usually get one good market cycle of stagnation. I don't know if that's a word, but I'm keeping it. Stagnation, and then it goes higher. Here's a good market cycle of down stagnation, and then we go higher. We're already getting to that point where 1600 days, yeah, 1600 days we're going to break out. So the average house is going to be 600,000, 700,000. Maybe it's different, but I can't come up with a reason for it to be different. I can only look at the historical data. Some people don't like historical data. It's not always right, but I'm not going to make up a reason for why houses should come down to 300,000. Why should they? If you throw the S&P on the chart, it paints a better picture as to why houses are probably going to move higher. All right. For some reason, the S&P is not showing up. But oh well. But yeah, I appreciate the 5, man. I appreciate the 5. It's US it's US HPI. Yeah, I think I just pulled that up. Come on, man. You even watching the stream? Us yeah, it's the same thing. I'm just kidding. You watching the stream with your eyes closed? Yeah, oh no, I pulled up United States average house prices. This is actually probably better because it gives us a better, what's the word I'm looking for? Fluctuation. There we go. It gives us a better fluctuation. Because the thing that you had, you can't really see anything. It just goes up forever. But it's the same concept. You had your 2008 crash, then it went up. I think if anything, you could argue this could be a stronger argument for a pullback. I could see what you could argue with that because it has been going up forever, but that's the counter argument. It's going up forever. Like, why does it have to pull back? I don't think it does. It never has. Only 2008. I mean, I'm sure at some point it will, but how do we know it doesn't go up again and then go down? I think this is probably a better watch because it's more fluctuations. There's more fluctuation. But I appreciate the 5, man. But yeah, I think the next bull run could be massive for the stock market because as you know, there's probably doomsday YouTubers calling for 2008, but they always do that. But it is starting to get a little bit dragged out here, where the crashes are getting not necessarily bigger, but they're getting faster. And every time we have a bear market, the top is getting further away from the bottom, you know? Like if you consider this the peak, it was 86%. If you consider this the peak, it was 117%. We still don't even have a peak yet. Like what is the top? Unless you want to say this, but if a new bull market started, then Bitcoin would be following. And it's not. This one was, again, I guess technically you would say this was some type of bull run, 100%, because 20% was a bear market back in the day. Now 20% is normal, but that's because look at the size of the gains. And again, for us, a 2x isn't enough, but like if you've been in the market since 2011 and you just keep doubling your money every 3 years, you're going to be a millionaire pretty soon. And the difference between the stocks and crypto is you don't have to check it every 5 minutes. You know it's going to go up. But we got to stare at our shit coins because if we don't sell the exact day of the top, we lose everything. And that's what's unfortunate. But the 12-month forward PE ratio of the S&P is still only 20, which is pretty low. Yeah, but somebody made a good point. They said that these stocks that they're putting in, they're changing the stocks. And if you look at the RSI on all of the stocks, they're pretty overbought. I guess I actually just pulled that out of my ass, but that might be true. Let's look at Nvidia, Apple, and Microsoft. Yeah, I definitely pulled that out of thin air. I mean, Nvidia is now at 5 trillion. I don't know how much higher this is going to go. Well, I guess it's, yeah, it kind of reminds me of 2018. It doesn't have to be, but the same thing happened where Nvidia remained elevated and then for no reason at all, it just went straight down by 50%. I think people are underestimating the possibility of this. I can tell. Which I'm not saying it has to happen, but I'm prepared for it. Am I missing money? Am I missing out on money? Of course, but I'm not losing any money. Like, and that's the problem with crypto. This whole time we kept saying, "Oh, well, we can't miss out because then we're never going to make it." But there's always going to be another cycle. The problem is we keep losing all of our money. And we used to say or think, some people still think this way. I do sometimes. Well, if I don't make the money, then I'm not going to make it because my money's not doing anything. But you're not, the thing that we're not understanding is you're not losing money. Like if Nvidia goes to $500, I don't lose any money. If Nvidia goes down to $100, everyone who's in and never sold loses 50% of their money. But I can buy back in. Now, you have to ask yourself, is it different this time? Or is Nvidia going to fall by 50%, how it always does, at least in the last 10 years? Nvidia didn't fall by 50% in 2015. I mean, I don't know. I guess you'd have to ask yourself. Nvidia was basically doing nothing for the first 20 years of its lifespan. So in the last 10 years, sorry, in the last 8 years, Nvidia has fallen by 50% or more when Bitcoin goes down to the bottom, which unfortunately 50% for Nvidia puts it back to where it was in last year. So we're probably never getting Nvidia at $10, but 50% on Nvidia is going to really pull down the S&P 500 because it's the number one stock. And if we look at Microsoft, Apple, and Amazon, correct me if I'm wrong, but Microsoft I don't think is bullish. Yeah, Microsoft is bearish. I haven't been looking at Apple. Is Apple bullish? Okay, Apple is bullish. Yeah, but Apple sucks. It's only up, it's not even up 2x in 4 years. Yeah, these stocks are too overvalued. That's why I think if we get some type of COVID crash, it would reset everything. But I think if we do, I'm saying when. I think we're in a bear market for Bitcoin. I don't see how Bitcoin can go down and the S&P keep going. Something has to give. Either the super cycle is going to come in or they're going to announce something in August and September, and for no reason at all, we're just going to go down. But the 4-year cycle would say we're going down anyway. I don't know what the reason's going to be. I never care about the narrative. I'm just saying something has to give. Either it's a super cycle or we're really going back down there. Because it always does. And every time, even people like, even I've said it, it's different this time. It's never really different. It might look different at the time, but when it happens, and we always say, "Oh, it's not actually different." And I don't know if I can scream that we're gonna have a big bull run when we're pretty. It doesn't mean it's over, but at some point, it has to come down here. And what I'm saying is it can happen pretty quickly. And something has to give. Either we're going into a super cycle or not. And if we're not, which is what I think, then we have to go much lower. And I don't see, and I could be wrong about that, but I don't see how SPY can just keep going with Bitcoin going down when the last 15 years have resulted in a drop on SPY when Bitcoin pulls back. When Bitcoin bottoms, you can see SPY was down 21%, SPY was down 16%, SPY was down 20%, SPY went down 26%. The thing that's scary is it's getting bigger, 16, 20, 26. I can't say it's impossible we get a 30% flash crash. I'm not telling you guys it has to happen. I'm not telling you to prepare for it. I'm just telling you be open to it. Just like right now, I'm open to the super cycle. If I were 1,000% convinced that we were going to zero, I would be shorting right now. But I'm not shorting because I don't know how high we're going to go. But once we get into August, if we're still here, we're going to have more evidence that we are going to zero. Then I'll probably try and do something. But for now, I'm sitting on my hands because I don't see enough evidence to turn bearish right now. Even though I am under the impression it is a bear market, I have to respect how bullish it is. Because like I said the other day, you could be bearish short. Let's just say people think it's a bear market, right? Let's just say I think it's a bear market. And I say, no matter what, we're going to 45,000, doesn't matter. And I short here, boom. But then we spike up like this, I get liquidated, and then we go down. I don't know if this is going to happen. That's what I'm trying to say. And if it does happen, but I short here, I get screwed. But like I said yesterday, if we get this spike up, which I'm hoping that we do, everyone comes back, everyone says you're a blah, 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 you're this, you're that, super cycle, never, we can't be bearish. Then for no reason at all, we just go down, then you know it's bearish. Because now we're in June or July, and your super cycle momentum that's supposed to be sending you up won't be bullish anymore. because it's bullish now. And even in a bull market, this exact momentum sent you down 30%. So I'm going to assume that if we're still here or lower by August, this stock RSI, it always goes down. It can't not go down. It has to go down, even in a bull market. Could we do something like 2023 where it just goes sideways? I guess you can't rule it out. Then you'll have a new paradigm shift. But the data doesn't support that. The data says that if it's a super cycle, it should be happening right now, which is why I'm respecting it. But come August, Bitcoin being below 80,000 tells me it's not a super cycle. It's a 4-year cycle. And if it's a 4-year cycle, we're going much lower. So everything's intertwined, and I don't see how we can have a 4-year cycle bear market because Bitcoin will be starting a new bull market, but the S&P never left a bull market. So there's always, I guess technically there's that possibility where the next bull market stinks and SPY doesn't really do anything, but I don't think we want that. We want something. So I think for now, which we've been saying for the last month, yeah, even Meta's doing nothing. Meta hasn't moved since 2024. I think for now, we can remain bullish or elevated, but as per our macro chart, I think coming into this box is going to put the nail in the coffin. Man, this is going to be a big opportunity for a lot of people if we get this move. Because then if we're down here, then we know it's a bull market time. And we can take everything we learned from 2023 and apply it. What did we learn from 2023? Do not buy altcoins at the bottom. Unless you're really good at picking, maybe you can, because there were definitely altcoins that did very well, like INJ. I know someone in my chat, he doesn't watch the stream anymore. Someone in my chat bought INJ at the bottom, and he rode it all the way up. He got a 7x and then 30x. I mean, dude, a 30x in 1 year. The problem is with crypto, and this is the propaganda that we all fall for, YouTubers like me push this as the norm. Oh, you can change your life if you buy the right time. Oh, you're going to miss the bottom. I can skim through these altcoins that everyone in the chat has held at one point, and every single coin is dead. Avalanche, dead. XRP, very nice move. Doesn't matter. You didn't have to buy the day of the bottom. You literally could have bought in when Bitcoin was at 100,000 or 80. That's the thing. That's my point, though. If you bought XRP at the bottom, yes, you bought the bottom, but Bitcoin went all the way to 80,000 and it was still 39 cents. So now we know, don't buy altcoins at the bottom. ACH. If you bought ACH at the bottom, you definitely got a nice rally here. So if you sold, then you did good. So I guess technically, you could buy altcoins, but you have to sell the rally. That's what I would say. Not financial advice, of course. If you're going to be accurate with statements like that, technically you could buy altcoins. The problem is we never sell because we don't want to miss the bull run. Because everyone says, oh, I don't want to miss the next INJ. If I sell now, I'm going to miss the 30x. But it never happens that way. Again, I can skim through all of these coins. They had big moves off of the low, but then they went to zero. So unless you're good at picking the winners, you could just look through all of these coins. They're all rubbish. But there will be a time to buy altcoins. So what do we know from 2023? Technically, you could buy altcoins, but you have to sell them on the first move up, which is also potentially true because that happened in 2019 as well. In 2019, we had a big alt rally and then they just died. But the same thing happened again, where we had a big rally off of the low in 2018, and then a year later, these coins made new lows. We didn't even have COVID last time, and that still happened. I don't know all the examples off the top of my head. I know Shiba. There was no COVID, but if you bought the low for Shiba, a year later it made another low, and then it went up. So that's my point. I'm like, I don't want to play. Is the bottom in? Is it not? I don't know because I don't know. If Bitcoin bottoms in October, how do we know that Shiba bottomed? You don't. And I don't want to have that stress anymore. Some people are young or in a good position to do that. I'm not. I don't want to be checking Ethereum Classic. Is the bottom in? Well, what do you call a bottom? When the price stops going down? The bottom is probably $2. I don't know. So I think we can just apply everything we learned from 2023, which I've seen it happen 2 times now, where I bought altcoins at the bottom only for them to do shit. So I'm probably going to go stocks. And then I think this is where the altcoins are going to run. And we're going to start planning, I think, in June. Because believe it or not, even though I'm not the best YouTuber, I know that we did really well with that stock RSI. I forget what I said because I deleted all my posts on X, but I had a chart that said the second time the stock RSI hits overbought, that's when we go bullish. Yeah, I think that's what I said. Because you see how here we went from oversold to overbought, and then we went down, and then we hit overbought, and then we went to the moon. The problem is we're about to hit overbought for the first time. So it's like, oh, now people are going to say the second time you hit overbought, that's when it's going to be bullish. Maybe it is. It looks like it's shooting for August of 2027. So if we sit here like this, then we turn bearish. Yeah, I don't know how this is going to look. But we're going to find it. We're going to find it. And that's why it may be that simple where you just look at MSTR and you say, look at how it's behaving. It's doing almost the same exact thing as last time. And that's why I keep saying the same thing over and over again. Bitcoin remaining this price or lower by August confirms this is where we are. And if that's where we are, we're going to be like, okay, I got to be in the market by November, December of 2020, whatever year we're in, 2026. And I got to be out of the market by August, September of 2028. And that is historically accurate with what has been happening. MSTR has been topping 6 to 12 months before Bitcoin. It's the second time it happened. But the beautiful thing about that is that's 2 years away. It does suck that it's 2 years away and we're 2 years older than last time, but if you miss this, you're going to be even older. So I would say, yeah, I mean MSTR, it just looks too much like this. I can't be bullish here. I get it, the PMI and blockchain, someone said blockchain backer, who's a respectable YouTuber, right? He says the bottom is in, I'm assuming, I don't know. I get it, but I can't be bullish here. I'd rather miss the bull run. I can't buy in here. It looks like it wants to roll over. Actually, I'm actually curious. What does MSTR divided by SPY look like? Oh, it's the same thing. Is it the same? It's slightly different. It's slightly different. But I can't be bullish here. I'm not telling you guys to not be bullish. If you want to be bullish, you know, have at it. Maybe you're right. Like, I'm not even being sarcastic. Maybe you are right, but I can't lose any more money trying to be bullish because this tells me that we're smack in the middle of the bear market. Yeah, there's no way. Especially for Dogecoin. When I made a video last week saying Doge the next bull run, and it got a decent amount of views. Everybody probably thought I was saying we're going to the moon. And I said the next bull market's in 2 years. Yeah, history's showing us when the next big bull run starts. It got 1.4K views. Now my videos are getting like 7 to 800. That was the last one that got that many views. Everybody probably clicked on it like, yeah, we're going to the moon. But this says we're not going anywhere for a long time. And we just got down here. That's the problem. So, unfortunately, I don't see us going to the moon. Some good traders saying we may not see sub 60K again. No, I'm telling you, man, this is now my third bear market, and there's plenty of people on both sides. You gotta follow what your gut tells you, man. Someone has to be wrong, right? Like Ben Cohen was 100% spot on basically all of 2023 and 2024, and then he got one, and this is not a I don't really know that many analysts, so I can't really reference them. I only know Ben Cowen and even Crypto University, right? He used to be this legendary guy. Now he's just like the rest of us. At some point, everyone gets a hot streak and everyone gets a cold streak. Even me, I had a hot streak in 2023 and 2024, and to a lesser extent 2025, because we were looking for that 2025 Q1 crash for 3 years, 2 years. We executed it so poorly, and then I turned ice cold in 2025, and then November of 2024 I said technically we shouldn't go any lower than this. We should sit here until January and then go down, and that's exactly what happened. Then I got cold again, March and April. Then in April we turned I don't want to say I turned bullish, but I stopped saying crash because I respected the momentum, and rightfully so. And now ever since April we've been bullish. So I'm like neutral. I'm not making any predictions. But now my prediction is we should stay up here until June or July, and then we should go down. But my point is everyone has hot streaks and cold streaks. So a lot of experienced traders who might be right all the time, they'll have their day where they're wrong. It happens to everybody. Some people are wrong more than they're right, but everyone I've seen pretty much has hot and cold streaks. And right now, because I'm Mr. Bear, a lot of the bearish YouTubers are getting grilled because every single video they make says crash, 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 and we're not going down. On the flip side, the Moon Boys are saying super cycle, super cycle, super cycle, super cycle, but Ethereum is not moving. So that's why I'm saying, because I've been here for so long now, you just have to gather as much information as you can and place your bet. You know, for me, I see no evidence to throw my money in. Would it have been nice to make the trade? Of course. But all that hopium that we had 2 weeks ago, and Ethereum is back at 2000. So we were at max fear and Ethereum was at 2000. Now we're not at max bullish anymore, but we're back at 2000. So I didn't miss anything. Technically, I could buy in right now and it would be the same exact thing as buying in at peak fear. That's not good. If it's actually bullish, you shouldn't get another chance to get in. The problem is people are saying Bitcoin could come back and make a double bottom. If that happens, Ethereum is going to die. It's going to break the low. But how could something break the low if it's a super cycle? That's why I don't think it's a super cycle. I think we're just in a big ass correction that was underestimated. Vision's on a 3-year hot streak. No, I'm not on any streak right now. I'm neutral. If I had to give an honest, like because I remember everything. We were really well. I guess I can't say I was really good here because I was just doing altcoins. This I messed up bad. This was terrible. This was excellent. Even this, from this point on, was where I got cold. Because we were looking for the Q1 crash. Then I basically said what everyone else was saying. If we hold the moving average, we're still bullish, and we were. And that's where a lot of us got screwed because most of us were thinking, hip, hip, hooray, the bull run survives. The problem is all of the altcoins turned bearish, so none of us got out. That's why most of our net worths have been falling for a year now or more because all the altcoins peaked here. Then when we broke 100K, I sold all my coins and I said technically we shouldn't go any lower than 80K and we should go sideways until January. And the reason why this is relevant is because that's what we're doing again, where I said, listen, I think it's a bear market, but if you're a super cycler, this is your chance because the momentum is bullish. The momentum went up, we did nothing, and then we went to zero. That's what's happening now, but it's much stronger because the 8-day stock RSI is max bullish and we're not moving. But I did also say that I think the bottom is in April, which was clearly wrong. So I went cold because we got this right, but then I was too bearish for too long, but at least I accepted it. Most people are still calling for a crash. Like the bear tubers are still bearish. We stopped being bearish at 68K. I said the crash is canceled. So I was not hot because I've been cold since April. But now that we've turned bullish, at least I gave my viewers the chance to be bullish and we're bullish. But now I'm starting to get bearish again because look at the momentum. But in overall, I think it's a bear market, so I'm not even going to try to predict this. And me going through this nonsense right now is not about me saying I'm right or wrong, because I don't really make predictions. I'm like 50-50, just like everyone else. But the point is, everyone gets hot and cold. Your favorite YouTuber gets hot and he gets cold. I guarantee it. You know how many YouTubers, people come in my comments, say, watch this guy, and then I watch them, and then he gets obliterated. It happens to everyone. That's what YouTube is. That's why you have the peanut gallery where people type on their keyboards, oh, this guy's always wrong. Meanwhile, they copy and paste the same comment on everybody's YouTube channel. So at some point, your favorite YouTuber is going to be wrong. Blockchain backer is a very intelligent person, I'm going to assume. I'm sure he's very rich and successful. But if this bottom falls out and he said the bottom is in, which I don't even know if he did, I'm taking someone in the chat's word for it, he's going to be ice cold. He starts over ice cold. And then his viewers will turn on him. That's what always happens. That doesn't mean he's a bad trade. And maybe he's right. And maybe we're in a super cycle. I don't even know what he's saying. It's just an example. Like every YouTuber or Twitter guy has a hot and a cold streak. It's just a part of the game. But from me being here for as long as I have, I've seen this before. Like I've seen this exact environment where how could we be bearish? The S&P is going to the moon, and then we go down for no reason at all. I was there in 2018. It doesn't feel like 2018 because the S&P is going super bullish, but it doesn't mean that it's not doing a similar move, which is why I pivoted to telling you about the semiconductors, because the semiconductors did do that in 2018, and I wasn't here for 2015, but you can see it on the chart. That's why the people that come in here saying, oh, the Russell 2000 is bullish, that means we have to go up. Even I used that exact propaganda. But if you actually look at it, that's just not true. The Russell 2000 went up for another 3 to 5 months after Bitcoin already topped. And we still went down. And it happened 2 times. That's why you got to verify everything on your own, because the propaganda that YouTubers give you is rubbish sometimes. There's people in the chat still right now saying the Russell is bullish, we have to go up. In 2015, that didn't happen. In 2018, that didn't happen. Unfortunately, it's one of those times it's not happening. But is it unfortunate, or are we just ignoring the data? Because 50% of the time, this is what happens. So you really have to wrap up this rubbish ass soliloquy. At the end of the day, as long as you don't lose all your money, you're doing good. You have to check everything on your own. You have to verify whatever a YouTuber tells you. No one's perfect. Everyone has hot and cold streaks. If they tell you otherwise, they're lying. And that's what I learned from being in crypto for as long as I have. Dominance didn't crash like it was supposed to, didn't make as much money. Right, a lot of people like me, I thought we were going to get old season. Some people said we weren't. Those people were right. That's why you got to try and watch. I personally don't watch YouTube because a lot of the shit is rubbish. Excuse my language. I've actually been very good with the cursing ever since I did my channel relaunch. I don't curse anymore, which is pretty good. But a lot of the shit on YouTube is rubbish, man. And I was never able to accept it. I think most people just make shit to make money, which is what I want to do too. But I actually try and follow what I say. But you make more money on YouTube when you're bullish. So I think most people probably just make bullish predictions just to get the ad revenue. But the reality is, like, people are saying that Doge, like, why am I not making bullish Doge videos? Or someone called me a sellout before a couple months ago because I said Doge was going to go to 5 cents. Like, what am I supposed to say? That Doge is going to go to $1? Dude, I'm going to lose all my money if I buy Doge and then it goes to 5 cents. You lost, like, even if I turned bullish right now, which we already did turn bullish in April. That's why I'm not really upset. I mean, I'm upset because I got hit a little bit on the move up, but even when I turned bullish in April, look at the difference. So instead of being bullish at 8 cents, I was bullish at 8.8 cents. That's why it's like, you have to be able to pivot. Some people can't. Some people are still bearish and they're calling for a crash, which I agree with. I think we will get it, but I mean, imagine you just shorted at 70,000 and you got obliterated. That's why I'm glad I pivoted, because if I would have shorted at 68K, I would have no money to do anything. Now that we're up here, I can reassess and say, okay, now when we go down, we know we have to go down. We don't know if we're going down yet. There's that chance that we come up here. Maybe it doesn't happen, but I have to respect it's possible, because it did happen in 2000. It did happen in 2018. Look how much time you spent up here. And then you came up a second time. And in 2014, you double topped. You went down, then you popped up again. So I have to respect the possibility that we do get a double top. Do we have to? No. Would I be upset if we just go straight down? Probably, because I think it's coming down here. But I'm trying to position myself to where I make less moves and I have higher success rates. So some people make 1,000 trades a day. Some people trade maybe 10 times a week. I perform best when I make less trades. Like, I realize the longer I hold a position, the more money I lose. So I want to just get in and then sell the position in a month or less. Less than that. Maybe a month max. And if we just sit here for another month, now you're in uncharted water, because you're sitting here for a month wondering, is it going to go up or is it going to go down? But if we sit here for a month, we know, or we have an elevated expectation that it should go down, because why would it go up if it's supposed to be going up now? And then there's always that group of people that say it's just going to go up forever, but you can't listen to that rubbish. I'm using legitimate information here. Every time we've done what we're doing right now, we went to the moon. That means that if it doesn't happen now, something is wrong. Which means if we're still here, which is what I'm looking for, we know it's bearish. Everything I've been saying is very, very repetitive, but it's now starting to come into reality where we got to start moving. Like, we don't have to start moving up because I think it's a bear market, but for those of you that are bullish, you really got to start moving now, because you can only stay up here for so long. It's the reality. And like I said 100 times, that's an exaggeration. Even in a bull market, this same momentum sent you down 30%. So if it's a bull market, we're looking at a 30% move down. If it's a bear market, I can't tell you how far it's going to go down. You've never had this before in a bear market. Maybe it goes down 60%. I think that's too low, but it's an exaggeration. Well, technically, this one, you did go down 60%, 50%. That's what I would have to rely on. I'd have to rely on the beginning of the bear market, because each bear market starts from this stock RSI, and you can see this move down was 50%. We might be going down 50%, actually. Yeah. It might be that simple. 50% from 83,000. Sweet corn. I'm gonna start saying sweet corn. Sweet corn and baby carrots. We might be going to 41,000. I know it's a super cycle to some, maybe it is, but when we get to July and August, I'm giving you the benefit of the doubt for the super cycle, because if I was that confident, I would be shorting right now. But I'm not confident that the top is in, or we're going to go down right now. Maybe we are, but that maybe is not enough for me to put my money in. I have to be 100% sure before I put my money back in. Now, some people think that might be stupid. Some people might agree. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter what you think. It's about keeping my money and not losing anymore. Because at some point, there will be a time where it's guaranteed to make money. I know there's no guarantees in life, but if Bitcoin is at 40,000 in October, I'm closing my eyes and getting in. I'm not closing my eyes at 80,000. It could go down 50%. And even if it goes up 50%, it's not going to matter, because we already have a list of shit coins that are in the dirt. So we got a good plan here. I mean, look at Jasmine. I hate to see it bearish because I know a lot of the viewers have it, but Jasmine looks like death. I mean, look at it. Look at it. Who says that? Look at it. Patrick. Look at it. Maybe there's that scam pump for Jasmine, but the clock is ticking. Jasmine's getting ready to kick the can. I'm holding out hope we get that last spike, but we're getting we're getting close to the end of the year here. I mean, November is in 5 months. October's in 4 months. I don't know if I'm pushing the idea that the bottom has to be in October. It could be. I'm not obsessed with that. Maybe it is. But October's 4 months away, guys. And it feels like October was just yesterday. Because I remember I was walking in the woods and Doge went all the way to 5 cents and I lost all my money and then got it back and then lost it again on that flash crash. So 4 months from now, we should be down here. And if we are, and I don't lose any more money, then I have 3 years. I technically have 2 years. I have 2 years to make as much money as I can, because I think the bull market is going to be short for us but for Bitcoin, it should be 4 years. And that's how it's been. That's how it's been for the last two market cycles. Like people could argue all they want. I understand the 4 year cycles. I understand it. It doesn't matter. There's no 4 year cycle for Dogecoin. The bottom was in 2020. The top was a year later. You don't have as much time to make money as people are pushing. For here, it was much different. Doge bottomed in June, and the peak was all the way out here, 860 days. This one, you could say, was a little bit closer to the 4 year cycle, for sure. But you have three different data points. I have 1100, you have 400, and 800. So it's random. It's like a generator. You know when they generate a random name? But it's not random because if we look at the momentum, it tells us where the top is, and the top is moving. That's why I always use this. I use the stock RSI, not the regular RSI, which I'm sure the RSI itself is useful too, but a lot of people are saying that the bottom is in because of the RSI. And what I'm saying is I used the RSI to try and call the top, and I was wrong. Because if you said that this was the top, you were wrong. But I didn't say this was the top. I said that this was the top because I was looking for a bearish divergence like last time. But what do we know? That was not the top either. So why does this have to be the bottom? Not to mention the fact that the RSI is making a lower high and it made a lower low last time. Yeah, I don't agree with that statement. The bottom is in because of the RSI. You can clearly see it's making a lower, it made a lower low last time. We could go lower than this, but I think the base case for the super cycle is the bottom is in because of the weekly RSI. It wasn't even the bottom last time. Yeah, I don't buy the propaganda. I just don't. And maybe I'm wrong, right? Maybe we're going to the moon. But I don't buy the super cycle propaganda. And I'm at the reality is I'm at the point where I could push it on YouTube, but why wreck my viewers and why wreck myself? The bull market is 4 months away. I'd rather get my channel ready, which is what I'm doing. I like the rebrand. I think it came out very well. I have to just eat the bullet that the views are going to drop over the next 3 months, but that's okay because I'm going to be positioned. I'm going to make Doge. I think we're going to do Doge, Bitcoin, and MSTR. I think those are going to be my coins. It's going to be so great to be bullish again, man. I can't wait. I'm going to be the biggest moon boy. I'm going to push all the propaganda, the manufacturing index, the QE, all the rubbish. It's going to be great. Why has the RSI downtrend been broken already? Because we had a big move. But you got to remember that the RSI, and this is my biggest argument against the super cycle, look at how long ago the RSI peaked. 728 days ago. That's the longest, it's the longest ever. But people are sweeping that under the rug. Like that doesn't matter. Of course that matters. The RSI bottomed early because look at where the top is. Of course, you could just ignore it and say it doesn't mean anything, but I can't do that. My job here isn't to give you biased information, and that's what I take pride in, and that's why I don't mind that I was wrong from a YouTube perspective. I'm mad at myself because I took a hit, but I don't mind that I was wrong about the bottom because I changed to bullish in April before the move up. Because you have to be able to, and I even said, when we get bullish, I'm not going to hide information from you. And I didn't. I know I said the crash was coming, but the data says we should go, the crash isn't coming. And I'm lucky I said that because we went right up as soon as I said that. And I saved a lot of money by listening to my gut. Because even when we were up here, I said to myself, all right, listen, and I said to you guys, there is a chance we go down, and if it's a higher low, then we're not going down. And once I saw that, I had to bite my ego and say, damn, I was wrong. I just got to just admit that you're wrong and move on. And I'm so glad that I did, because we went right up after that. And now I'm in a position to where I could capitalize on this. Whereas if I didn't and I just ignored the signals, I'd be wrecked. And I didn't wreck any of my viewers because most of my viewers are Dogecoin people. And the bottom was at 8.8 and we turned bullish at 8.8. Sorry. The bottom was at 8 and we turned bullish at 8.9. So it is what it is. But the problem for the super cyclers is that was 3 months ago. And that's why it's scary how fast time is moving. Guys, the bottom was 3 months ago already. Actually, it's almost 4 months ago, right? February to May is 1 month. Jeez. February to March is 1. March to April is 2. April to May is 3. We're about to be in June. And Ethereum is still at $2,000. The reason why this is so urgent is because the momentum is not. The momentum has been fully reset. I think the clock is ticking for the bear market. I think the clock is ticking for the super cycle propaganda. I mean, look at this. I just can't tell you guys to the moon, man. I want the price to go up. I'm telling you, genuinely, I need the price to go up because I want a good entry. But if we just go down, I can't do anything. And if I miss this move, I'm going to be upset, but I'll live because I didn't lose any money. I'm holding out hope there's one more spike left in the tank, or we sit here. I think the best case scenario, like we could get something like this. That's what I'm hoping for. I'm hoping we get one of these puppies. And that's not going to look like this exactly, but yeah, sweet corn and baby peas. That would be the best case scenario. We sit here, we spike up, the bears get liquidated for being perma bears, the bulls get sucked in, then we go down, we bounce, and then straight to hell. The bottom is in, and that's it. Run a playback. That's what I'm hoping for. But for now, if I had to give you the legitimate information, we do have to respect the possibility that the crash may begin soon. Your macro momentum is exhausted. I do want to point out that in the bear market, each of the moves down have started from the 5-day stock RSI rolling over. So the move down may have started already. But the daily time frame is telling you that it could still go up. So in face value, it sounds like I'm saying it could go up, it could go down, which in the short term, I am saying that. But in the long term, I'm telling you that 50,000 is coming. I just don't know when. And I have no issue because if I knew, I don't think I'd be making YouTube videos. I'd probably be on the beach somewhere. But what I can show you is the daily stock RSI is giving you the chance to go up. Would I be shocked if we go up? No, because this says we can. We're at that moment where it is 50-50 because the bearish momentum is coming in. And anyone that tells you it's not is lying to you. It's on the screen. Which is why this is why I'm hoping the trend continues, because the stock RSI actually turned bearish months in advance, which is why I'm hopeful that we could sit here for a little while. You know, that's what I'm hoping for. I'm hoping there's too many bears. Mr. Bear gets bearish. We get one more spike, just like 2025 and 2024. Both times you made a higher high, but the stock RSI is going down, then we're going to know it's bearish. because by then it will be July. There will be 3 months left. We would have to go from 80,000 down to 45,000 in 3 months. The move down is going to be nasty. Is it possible that we go like this? Again, I know it's very repetitive, but I'm just trying to prepare for everything that could happen. I guess I would accept this scenario. This is good too. This is probably better overall because I don't think anybody would be bullish if we went back down there. But I think the only scenario that screws me is if we go like this. That would be tragic. But even this doesn't really make sense because the bottom is supposed to be over here. So we would have to get a bounce. I guess that could work. But I don't see that. It's not impossible, but I don't see it happening. And then for those of you that are asking, well, where's the bullish scenario? I don't have one. That's it. But I've been trying to give you the bullish opportunity for the last 2 months. It doesn't feel like it, but April was almost 2 months ago. I've been saying max bullish for 2 months, and we haven't moved. That tells me that it's bearish. If it's not, listen, if we're not going up and the stock RSI goes like this, it's sure as hell not going up when the stock RSI goes like this. So that is as basic as I can make it. The clock has officially started. The super cycle clock has started. Could you get something like this where it just goes sideways? I don't think so. Not when you factor in that the S&P is literally getting pulled up by a magnet. Even back here, it was like you went up and then it went down. Like it's going straight up right now. The fact that we're going straight up and Bitcoin is struggling, I've seen all I need to see for the bear market, but I'm trying to give the super cyclers the benefit of the doubt. But I'm not even mentioning the word super cycle once we pass July. Unless we're at 95K, then obviously you guys were right. But once July comes, anything less than 85,000 is super bearish. And I'm not saying the 200-day moving average is irrelevant because it's definitely not, but I also don't talk about it because we've gone over it multiple times. In 2018, you stayed below it. I think in 2022, you stayed below it. In 2014, you went over it twice. So the reason why that's so important is because at that time I just showed you, in every bear market, this is the only one that is matching what we're doing. You see how the stock RSI hit overbought? And we stayed up here? That's what's happening now. The stock RSI is overbought. Whereas in 2022, it wasn't. And in 2018, it wasn't. And when you factor in the S&P 500, in 2018, the S&P was bullish. In 2014, the S&P was bullish. In 2022, it wasn't. So I don't think we can use 2022. So overall, if I had to give you what am I looking for? I'm looking for sub 48K by November. I just don't know if we're going to go down now or if we're going to sit here until the summer and then go down. So if you can find a YouTuber that knows the exact path we're going to take, then I would say watch them over me. But what do I hope happens? I hope we sit here for another month. I hope in 1 month, it's July 1st and Bitcoin's at 80,000. Why? It keeps the hopium alive, but in the background, we know it's bearish because the stock RSI is not going to stay up here. It only stays elevated if you continue to move up. You see how the stock RSI crashed, but we went sideways? But this was a bull market, and we went to the moon. But in every other instance, we fell by 30%. Now, I would probably be heartbroken if we just crashed. The reality is, I wouldn't even be heartbroken if we went up like this. I would be ecstatic. The only scenario that breaks my heart is if we just go straight down. Even though that's what I'm looking for, I'm not confident that it's gonna do it. That's why I hope it doesn't. But I don't see this necessarily happening the way that the stock market's moving. But once we pass July, then I start turning back into Mr. Bear. Then I am looking for this. So what I say is very, very repetitive, but you know why now. Because everyone that was talking shit, saying super cycle 3 weeks ago, they're gone. Because Ethereum is back at the low. Even Doge is almost back at the low. Well, not anymore, but it was. Solana almost went back to the low. So I'm hoping that the Moon Boys can come back one more time. But I don't know if they will. I don't know if they will. Yeah, I mean, you could just look at the total market cap. If you're going to push bullish propaganda, I would say you're in here. Look at the stock RSI. I'll give it to you. But when do you say that's invalidated? That's what I'm trying to say. Like I'm respecting the bullish momentum because I see it. I'm not telling you it's going to crash, and I stopped calling for a crash since April, but that was almost 2 months ago. Doesn't feel like it, but at some point the momentum is going to get tired. I don't know if we're there yet because we're not overbought, but we're sure as hell closer to the end than the beginning. So if we don't start pumping soon, the market is going to say we're bearish. Right? I mean, look at this. I'm trying to give you straight hopium, legitimate hopium. This is when we're supposed to be going up. Look. Why are we not going up? Because I don't think it's actually bullish. Because if it was, we should be moving up. I'm giving it the benefit of the doubt. But for how much longer? I think about a month and a half. I'm holding out hope we get some type of rally in the next month and a half. Because look at the S&P. Every time I say look at, I want to say look at this dude. Look at the S&P. Just mark where the stock RSI. Keep in mind that the stock RSI that's on your screen is for the total 2 market cap. It has nothing to do with the S&P. The S&P was going up every time. This is the first time that everything else is the same, but the price is not moving. Probably because it's a bear market. So we're holding out hope. We're holding out hope for a rally. I don't know why my ears are warm, but I'm rooting for a rally. I want a rally here, but I don't know. I'm giving it until July, and then I'm turning back into Mr. Bear. Why July? Because that's what it looks like is the projected momentum top, and we talked about Ethereum many times. For some reason, Ethereum just turns bearish in August. I don't know why. And then obviously we have our Moon Boy chart that if you don't know about that, then don't worry about it. But Ethereum, for some reason in July, the last 4 years, well, technically it was bullish last year, but the top was in August. For some reason, August is bearish for Ethereum. I don't know why. Oh, the top was in August in 2022 as well. Unless it was the last week of July. So I'm rooting for the bulls here. I want the price to go up. But I'm not going to tell my viewers we're in a bull market because I don't see any evidence that supports that. Maybe I'm wrong. I'm not saying that I'm gospel. I've been wrong plenty of times. But for me and my money, I can't buy in because I don't think the bottom is in. And we'll know by July that if we're still down here, the momentum will be turning down. Now, if the momentum goes all the way down to nothing and it's August and September and we still don't go down, then we probably invalidated the 4-year cycle, but it still wasn't a super cycle. But even then, there's no reason to be bullish because we're not going to go up for another 5 months. You might as well just say it's a bear market. But that's pretty much what we are looking for. We're hopeful for another spike to the upside, but I think in July and August the reversal comes. Maybe it comes earlier, but I hope it doesn't. And we're gonna watch everything. I'm watching everything. Right now, the doo-doo coins are back at their lows, but that doesn't mean that they're going down. We could bounce off the lows again. Like you see how Maneki, which is the ultimate rug, you see how it came back to the low, but then it bounced again? We might be right here. Which I can't believe it's a year ago already, my goodness. We might be in here where there's another bounce into the summer and then the bottom is at the end of the year. Because remember, switching, no, there's a saying, switching to something is faster than reloading. Just remember that just because Bitcoin bottoms doesn't mean the doo-doo coins bottom. Bitcoin bottomed in November last time, but how many doo-doo coins, even MSTR, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think MSTR actually bottomed a month later. Indeed. It bottomed in December. So the doo-doo coins don't have to bottom in November. They could bottom anytime. And an MSTR is a doo-doo coin. Yeah, bottom December 29th. So I'm almost 2 months after Bitcoin. So I think as currently constructed, the best time for me to buy in is going to be December. Could be earlier though, but I don't know. I don't know what the S&P is going to do. I think if the S&P does one of these puppies, I'm probably just going to get in that. But we'll worry about that when it comes, or if it comes. Maybe it's never coming. But all right, gentlemen and the two ladies. Remember I used to say that? Gas prices at highs. How are we not in a bear market? Yeah, I was looking at my gas prices this morning, man. I didn't realize that I'm paying the small number, which I know that I was doing that, but I didn't realize a lot of people are not. A lot of people are buying premium. So those people are feeling it even more, which I don't understand. If one of you guys can explain it to me, why is it that oil came back down, but the gas prices are not falling? I'm bearish on oil. I think at the end of the I think by the end of the year oil's lower. Especially if we start getting our red dot. I think we got one on the weekly. Yeah, we did. Yeah, I don't know how much longer oil is going to stay up here. I think by year's end, oil's back down here. That's my prediction. But why is gas not going down if oil pulled back? Does anybody have an answer for that? The election is causing this stagnation. Wait, is stagnation actually a word? I thought I made that up. Stagnation. Inactivity of liquids. Yeah, I guess it is. I guess that is a word. Maybe I didn't make it up. Takes 3 weeks. Takes three it takes 3 weeks to go down. How come when the price was going up, it took instant? Yeah, I gotta fill up my gas tank. I actually got my oil changed right at the top too. Like, whoa, Jack. Paper oil price is not spot market price. Gotcha. But they could also just be holding the prices higher, right? Like, who's making them? Like, why does gas have to go down? What if they just hold it up? But what's interesting is the oil companies, well, I guess ExxonMobil did go up. It's all about circulation, so I think gas companies are trying to make money from on oil from before. I mean, I'm not a professional oil guy. You probably have to watch somebody, but I was asking you guys because I know some of you are professionals. But I'm under the impression, I know that's my favorite saying now, I'm under the impression that if we get this crash, which I think we will, so it's when, not if, oil's coming down. Maybe it's different this time, and I'm sure when it happens, or if it happens, people will say, oh, it's only happening because of this or that. Every time Bitcoin crashes to the bottom, oil goes down too. You can disagree, that's fine. It doesn't matter what you think. Oil collapsed with Bitcoin. I got way too many charts open here. Oil collapsed. Oil died back here. I don't know what happened in 2014. Does anyone know what happened in 2014? Oil died. Yeah, 2011 oil died, and I don't know what happened in 2008. Yeah, I do, but oil absolutely died. So 100% of the time when Bitcoin goes down to the bear market bottom, oil collapses. I don't know the reason behind it. That's just what it is. So if I had to make a prediction, I think by December, oil should be back around 70 bucks, which is where it was in March and June, which is really not that much higher than what it was the last. Yeah, I mean, everyone loves narrative pumping. Oil's basically the same price as it was in 2023. Yeah, why is gas so much higher though? That's a genuine question. I'm pretty sure gas for me was like $3 in 2023. Why is it $4 now? Actually, it's like 440. There's got to be more to it than just the price of oil. Isn't there a shortage because the Strait of Hormuz is being closed? Right, but the shortage would make the price go up. But the Strait of Hormuz was open in 2023 and it's the same price. I think it's just propaganda. I'll never forget whoever said that was it's bearish propaganda. I think it's just propaganda. For some reason, something happens and everything just dies at the same time. We're missing barrels. Bottom is in on Bitcoin. 60K was the bottom. I mean, listen, it could be, right? I'm not trying to convince you otherwise. I'm just simply highlighting that Bitcoin failing to break out in the summer will result in a new low, in my opinion. Maybe I'm wrong about that. Over 5 in Central Oregon. Yeah, I don't know why that is. But I will say the gas prices are similar to 2022 though, because I was paying the same. Yeah, maybe that guy's right. Maybe we gotta wait 3 weeks. Yeah, but it has been 3 weeks. I think the price of gas is higher now than it was in April. And oil fell by 30 bucks. Please give me some bullish propaganda. I already did. They used it up. I'm trying to find bullish propaganda. Oh, actually, I got you right here. There you go. Bam. Bam. 2-week stock RSI is not overbought. Now, I'm hoping it hits overbought by July, which means that's your chance. Because once August passes, this is going to do a traffic cone. I'm pretty sure August, July is that sweet spot. Unfortunately, that's only 1 month away. Fortunately, that's only 1 month away. So you got to survive 1 more month of FOMO if you have any FOMO. I don't even have any FOMO anymore. I'm ready to start preparing for the bull market. I think in June we're going to start making bull market game plan. You know why? Because let's assume it's June 30th. Bitcoin is still at 78K. Now you have 3 months to prepare for the bull run. You have July, August, September. You're not going to be able to plan. If Bitcoin is going straight down, you're not going to be able to plan. You have to plan beforehand. Just like here, we said the same thing we're saying now. If it's a super cycle, this is your chance. Which means if it's January and we're not going up, there's nowhere to go but down. We had our plan a month, 2 months in advance. I'm telling you right now, if it's a super cycle, this is your chance. Which means if we don't go up now, we're going to go straight down. And I'm telling you, there's about a 2-month time frame. Why? Because that's what I said. No. The historical data suggests, based on the momentum, that this is the projected top. Could it be earlier in June? It could. Maybe it is June. I hope it's not, but maybe it is. But based on this, it should be August or July. And the last 3 times that it happened, there was a 30% move down. But this is the missing piece here, chat. The last 3 times it happened, Bitcoin erupted by 98%, 65%, and this one was the largest one at 171%, which means if we don't go up higher than 64%, you just got a diminished return again. And failure to break this high will result in a smaller than 64% gain. And that's why I'm bearish after the summertime. So your bullish propaganda is bullish into the summer. Maybe we make a new high, right? If it's a super cycle, we'll make a new high in the summer. Anything other than that, not a new all-time high, but a new high over this high. The absence of taking 95K. Okay, here's my closing statement. The absence of getting over $95,000 by August will result in a sub $50,000 Bitcoin. Not financial advice. That is just my opinion. That is my closing statement. Bitcoin failing to reclaim 95,000 by August will result in a sub 50,000 Bitcoin by November. And it's going to be November before we know it. It'll be Thanksgiving again. We'll be ready to go. And we'll have 2 years. We'll have 2 whole years to get some money. And that's what scares me, because everyone wants the bull market to start. But before you know it, the bull market is going to start. Oh, it's going to be great. It makes me happy. I cannot wait for the bull market, man. Look, we're going to go from bullish. I don't think it's going to be this easy, though. I think they're going to twist it. It's going to get a little bit of a twist. I don't necessarily think we're going to just teleport up. Yeah, it's not going to look like this, I'm telling you. I think the rally might actually start in January or February. That's what I think. Ba-bam. That's what I think. but that's okay. That's far away. So, all right, chat. We'll be back. Oil went negative in COVID. No one's guess went negative. It's speculative paper. Yeah, that's true. Do I think I'll secure my family with Fartcoin? Probably not. Depends what oil you're looking at. WTI. I mean, they're all the same. RBOB. Roblox? Oh, RB. Oh, I see what you're saying. Yeah, but even this pulled back. I feel like my guess is going up. But all right, chat. Chat. I gotta stop saying chat. I'm too old for that now. It was fun for the last 2 years, but I've got to come up with another word for you guys. What do I call you? Pedestrians? No, I'm a pedestrian too. My fellow pedestrians. There we go. My fellow colleagues of the crypto show, blockchain. When you say Q1 rally, you mean Doge rallies to 73 cents? No, I think Doge rallies back to 20 cents, not 70 cents. Doge isn't going to hit 70 cents till 2028. I'm sorry. I do apologize for the inconvenience, but I can't grift you. I am a grifter, but I can't grift your hopes and dreams. I think Doge hits 70 cents, if it even hits 70 cents. Maybe the top is in forever. But I'm looking for Doge to go up there probably 2027, 2028. Yeah, it might be this easy. Hey, it might be this simple. It might. I'm telling you, I don't think we should overcomplicate it. This is what happened last time. It wasn't the exact same, but look. Wait. I got a little bit of hopium before I leave. If you take the previous market cycle from 2017 and you overlay it here, if you bought in when 2020 said to buy in, you bought in right before the parabolic rally. And the thing is, the top was almost in the same spot too. It wasn't quite, but it was almost. So I would argue for propaganda purposes, the bottom for Doge should be here somewhere between February of 2027 and September of 2026. Dude, it might be this simple. Dude. It might be. And then if we take the prior bull market, are these the same? Oh, yeah, that was a brain fart. Those are the same exact market cycles. We have to take this one. See, this is where the propaganda comes because this says the bottom is already in. But it also says that the top is probably here. So I'm looking for a Doge top in fall of 2028, maybe even summer. It might be the summer, which is 2 years away. So regardless, the time to buy Doge, I don't think is now. I think could be September of 2027. If you have to FOMO in, then maybe January of 2027. But it's not now, in my opinion. If we had the same market cap as last bull run, Doge will be 30 cents. It is scary to think that Doge doesn't go back up, but Avalanche is in the gutter. Yeah, a lot of coins are. That's why I'm nervous. That's why I don't know what I'm going to do. I mean, I have an idea, but I don't think I'm touching the old coins. But all right, everyone, thank you for tuning in. A very long live stream. I feel like we covered a lot of ground today. I tried to give the bulls the chance, but we're going to start monitoring everything because we got to start paying attention. But all right, everyone, thanks for watching. Thanks for the super chats from Chris. I don't know if he's still here. Appreciate the subs and the members from everybody, and we'll be back tomorrow. Enjoy the rest of your day. As always, stay safe. None of this is financial advice. And take care. I will see you soon.